Salam everyone, it's Keely. Maryum, welcome to my channel. In today's video, I'm basically addressing a subscriber's comment on one of my videos. Essentially, what I'm addressing is certain anxieties and I guess you could say issues that reverts face. I've struggled with this. I know so many others have also struggled with this. I'll put the comment somewhere on the screen. I think I'm going to not put the commenter's username in it just in case they want some privacy. I'm not sure if they're comfortable with me sharing that in a video, but if they would like, they can obviously comment down below and I can give them credit in the description box or something. So the first part of the comment is how my family reacted. I'm not going to get too detailed with this because just for my parents' privacy, I don't know how comfortable they would be with me talking about this on the internet, how comfortable they would be with me sharing their personal reactions on the internet. But what I will say though is that I have been very fortunate, and obviously I know not everyone's experience is the same, not everyone's family dynamics are the same, and not every person's family has the same opinions about Islam. But I do think regardless, my parents were still a little bit shocked. I think that's normal though, it is a huge change. And so what I did to kind of ease them into it, and what I would suggest if you feel safe doing so, bringing up Islam kind of casually in a conversation if it kind of fits. So being oh, I heard this about Islam, and then kind of seeing how they react, almost oh, I just learned this interesting fact, and then just kind of gauge their reaction based off of that. And then based off of their reaction, maybe just keep kind of talking about Islam here and there, not all the time, not in every single conversation, but just where it fits. If you find that there's something that you can talk about that is being talked about and that's relevant to the conversation, then I would personally do that. That's what I did. And so I think in my personal situation, the most shocking part about my conversion was maybe me becoming visibly Muslim by putting on the hijab. I think maybe seeing me as visibly Muslim may have been shocking and maybe would have been something that would be hard to get used to. And so when you first start, I don't really think that the hijab should be a main priority. I think you should focus on gaining knowledge and maybe working on other types of worship, so prayer, fasting, that sort of stuff, because I think that really is important for building a foundation for your faith. And then you can maybe build up to it if you're ready and when you're ready, because the hijab can come with time, and obviously God knows your intention. So if you don't feel safe wearing it, or if you don't feel safe wearing it around certain people, then I would say personally don't stress about it too much, because obviously your safety is important. Take your time with it. And I would say in general, if you don't think that your family would be accepting, or if you don't think it's safe to do so, then I would personally suggest converting first, and then when you're able to, when you think it's safe, if you ever think it's safe, then go ahead and tell them. I personally wouldn't hold off on converting just because you're worried about telling people. Telling people can come later, because ultimately converting to Islam is for yourself. It's important to convert sooner. That's a mistake that I made, and I've talked about this before, is that I waited to convert until I was ready to tell everybody, and I think it probably would have been better for me personally to convert and then tell people when I was ready. Of course, everybody's situation is different, and so now because everyone's family situation is different, I would suggest maybe going on YouTube, finding videos of how other people told their family, the ways that they told their family, because maybe one might work for you, or you think it might be a good way of telling your family, and they might have better tips than I do, because maybe their family is less open-minded and they know what would work better, or maybe they have suggestions or things that they wish they would have done differently. So in that regard, they might have better advice than I do. And so the next part of the question was how I basically got involved in the Muslim community. And if I'm being honest, this is something that I struggled with and I continue to struggle with. And right after I saw this comment, I saw another Muslim on Instagram say how they struggled with this as well. So this definitely isn't an uncommon thing. I personally am very introverted, so I think I struggle with it a lot. If you're more extroverted, then it might be a little bit easier, but I think obviously it is still nerve-wracking regardless, just because there are different social etiquettes and things like that that you might not be aware of. You might worry about oh, am I gonna make a mistake? If I go to the mosque, am I gonna make a mistake? Am I gonna do something wrong? And then you might have anxieties are people going to get mad at me if I do something wrong? Which obviously we shouldn't worry about what people think. We'll learn as we go. It's a learning process. You're not going to know everything right away, but still, regardless, you're still going to have anxiety. It's perfectly normal. So I just want to reassure you. And so I think the way that most reverts become a part of the Muslim community is by going out of their comfort zone and going to the mosque. Obviously not everybody has a mosque near them, but this is just one option, obviously. Personally, I've only been to the mosque like twice. So once was when I was first learning about Islam before I married my husband, and then the second time was when I got married in the mosque. Every time that I went, I was actually treated with like a lot of kindness. Nobody was really like rude to me or anything like that, because everybody knew that I was just learning. I actually didn't even have a hijab at the time. I didn't know where to find hijabs, so I was very lost. I definitely looked very out of place, but everybody was still very kind and very understanding of that, and nobody like pointed that out or shamed me for that in any way. So that's what I'm very thankful for, honestly, because I think most people are very understanding. You might have the odd person that, you know, might not be as understanding, that you're new and you don't know everything yet, but I think for the most part people are very understanding. And one thing that I would suggest, because I mentioned in my revert story, like in like 2 videos ago, I guess, that I went to a class initially. The first time I went to the mosque, I showed up to what was supposed to be a class for new reverts, and so I would suggest checking mosque websites or Facebook pages, because a lot of them have those and they might list certain classes that they have for new reverts. Maybe you can go at a time when they have that, because if you do that, everybody there is kind of in the same boat as you and everybody's kind of dealt with similar experiences as you, so I think it's a little bit less judgmental because they understand that like you're new, they've been there before, right? Even though I said that I haven't really been to the mosque since I have converted, I do plan on doing that. I have made plans about it before, but I ended up actually getting sick. I was really excited to go one day, and so I was kind of disappointed because I had finally worked up the courage to go to the mosque, and then I just ended up getting sick. But that's okay, because I can still go again some other time. I'm really hoping to go soon. I'm hoping I can work up the courage and go, because I don't have too much experience being involved with the Muslim community. Maybe other people might have suggestions, and if you have suggestions, please leave them in the comments. I know personally I've seen a lot of reverts connect with other Muslims on like TikTok and other platforms like that. I don't know if I would necessarily recommend that though, because a lot of them will like post like Muslim discords or revert discords, and I don't know if I would personally recommend that, because honestly it is a lot of them aren't just for women or just for men, and you could run into issues in that way. There might also be like local Facebook groups for like, say, like Muslim women only. I know there's some in my area, so maybe you could actually connect with other Muslims online through like Facebook groups where they actually have to go through everyone and accept them into the group. So this specific commenter seems to be very concerned that they won't be able to make new friends if they lose the friends or the family that they currently have. And I would say that if you're extroverted, you probably will have a better chance. Like, I'm super introverted. I haven't really been able to push myself outside of my comfort zone. And I think if you are able to do that, I think you probably will be better off, and I think you probably will have an easier time making friends, because all of the reverts that I know who have been able to push themselves out of their comfort zones have made new friends and are able to make friends who obviously have the same interests as them and the same lifestyle as them, which I think is really important as a Muslim. Obviously, like, I have my husband and I would love to have Muslim friends, honestly. Hopefully one day I will be able to actually push myself out of my comfort zone and then go and make new friends. But yeah, I just want to let you know that these anxieties and these issues that you're facing are very normal. Also, if you're a new revert and you go to the mosque, I know a lot of people really want to help new reverts, so I think a lot of reverts will have people coming up to them, especially if they're struggling with something. Like, if you're struggling to pray, or you look like a little bit lost, or you look kind of new, I think you will have a lot of people coming up to you. Just from what I've heard from other reverts' experiences, this is kind of what they've dealt with. So I think in general, a lot of Muslims want to help new people. I do pray that Allah makes it easy on you. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments so that we can all benefit from them. And so I want to thank you all for watching and for supporting my channel, and please do like and subscribe.